Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot, and today let's continue our mini review series for the iniBuilds Airbus A340. And today I want to continue with the cabin and the flight deck, having a look at the modeling and the texturing of the aircraft. So follow me inside. We'll start where the crew would board in the real life, which is the door 4 left. And we are going to make our way through the aircraft all the way up to the front to the flight deck, having a look at all the little bits and pieces that we expect to find on the airplane. So let's go ahead and actually start with that door over here. So to give you a little idea, I'm currently still in the original virtual cockpit view mode, and I'm using the translate view functions of the simulator to be walking around inside the cabin over here. So starting with the doors themselves, first of all, there is a good level of detailing on those, as you can obviously see. A little bit of dirt and stuff over here on the edges would be nice. That's the case for all the doors in the aircraft. By the way, I'm just using 4 left as an example here. All the details like the gust lock button are there, even though not operable. Now, moving a little bit through the cabin, we've got all the curtains over here that we can actually manually operate, that have a sound attached to them as well. Apart from that, however, there are no click spots available in like the galleys or the jump seats. However, I do have to emphasize that this looks very, very close to how the real aft galley of an airplane like this would look like. Obviously, I only know it from the Airbus A330, not from the A340. However, that is pretty much identical airframe, so I think it's safe to say. Now, most important in the back over here, obviously coffee machine, and then in the back over here we've got the we've got all the sweets, and down here we've got the salads. So those are most important things in the entire aft galley. Now from here, let's move forward a little bit. We're gonna take the right hand side over here. Again, good level of detail here, even though the mirror is not operational. And then moving a little bit further forward in the aircraft, entering the cabin. Honestly, this just blows me away from the very first moment that I've seen it. It's an awesome level of detail that they got in the cabin over here, and all of that while the frame rate remains very good. Let me put the frame rate overlay on over here, and here you go. You can see at the moment we get 70 something frames here in the back, which is around about the same that I get with the default aircraft or the Phoenix A320, and definitely a little bit more than I would get with the iniBuilds Airbus A350. Now let's go ahead and take a seat over here in the last row and have a look. The texturing on the wall is just superb. I mean, honestly, this could very well be a real aircraft just from looking at the walls. Now, the windows themselves also beautifully done, but the shades are not operational over here, so they did save a little bit on performance over there, and you do notice that throughout the cabin, so you don't have openable lockers or something the likes, but in my opinion that would just be performance killers, so I'm pretty happy that they did it this way. Overall, we do get some absolutely beautiful modeling down here in economy class, and spoiler alert, also in the other classes to come. So very, very well done. The carpet is also worth mentioning. Like, it gets a little blurry if we go like really low, but then again, we don't use these aircraft for the flights to Palma de Mallorca or Punta Cana or Cancun. Well, okay, Punta and Cancun, I believe, are on the Edelweiss route network, but you get what I mean over here. You are not going to lie on the ground puking for too often in those aircraft here. So from a decent distance like now, the carpet actually looks really good as well. So moving forward a little bit, we get to the third station, and what we notice over here is a different type of emergency exit that's fitted to the aircraft. Now in here you can see there is that little guard in front of the handle, which is in place because these doors over here are not usually used for passenger operation and usually always stay closed, because there is no galley over here where catering might have to come in and nothing the likes. So for this reason, this door usually stays closed over here. It has a different type of slide attached to it as well, at least in the real world in our aircraft it does. I haven't actually fired all the slides in the iniBuilds yet, so I'm not 100% 100% sure what they've fitted over here, but That's this door. Now, if you really want extra legroom, then do book that seat over here. However, be aware you will have a flight attendant sitting directly in front of you. So if you don't want to have a smoke, this is probably not the reason to be. The entire aircraft isn't, but this especially isn't. Now, from here, we also have the security screens over here, which we gotta have for the first row, because this one here does not seem to have the foldable monitors implemented. Now, over here, we got the entrance to the lower deck mobile crew rest. Now, this at the very time being, can open and close the door already, but right now you can see it's not textured and modeled in there. I guess that's going to come with a future update, but very nice to see that iniBuilds is already working on adding that. As we're also getting to the first row of toilets, by the way, you can actually open all of these and go inside to find a good level of detailing and modeling inside the toilets over here. Looks familiar. Now, going a little bit further up front, leaving those toilets behind, we still have some more economy class back here, but then we're already getting towards premium economy that we've got with these little dividers on the top over there, coming up to the front here. Now you can see, first row economy class is really recommendable because you do already get the screens of premium economy class in this aircraft. But before we have a look at the preco seats, let's have a very quick look at those dividers, because if we go really close, we can actually see they put a lot of texturing on those, and they just look really good in my opinion. Especially when seen from a little bit of a distance, then they just cut it. I mean, look at it from this angle. That's really, really well done. Now let's also go ahead and, well, let's not take this seat over here. That's not a window seat. So let's go ahead and take a seat over here in premium economy. Now, beautiful wing view from this side of the airplane, of course. And then if we have a look at the seat as well, very nice texturing once again. And I can absolutely imagine sitting in here for 10 hours, reclining it as good as you can recline preco seats. And you do have a little bit of legroom as well, and a footrest even, together with some free water bottles courtesy by iniBuilds. So let's continue a little bit further forward from here. Free magazine is included as well, by the way. So that's our premium economy class. I haven't actually counted the seats, must be like 30 or so with the size of a cabin. Again, the curtains and stuff are modeled over here, so you can manage those. Now we get up to the galley number 2, and over here there's a couple of things worth mentioning. So first of all, we do have the galleys, and we do have those blends, however you actually want to call them, that you can pull down so that when the passengers are boarding and deboarding, they don't have to see all the ovens and all that kind of stuff. However, when you get close up, you can see that there's actually something behind the handrails over here. So if you look inside, then you can absolutely see that the rest of the galley is actually modeled back there. So that's quite a cool thing to see. And now we're getting into business class. Now the business on this airplane has been done to a really, really nice degree. If we walk around over here and just have a look at the seats, then we can see some very, very nice texturing. And once again, very nice modeling. The actual view outside the window, also really cool. Now, something that we unfortunately don't have here on the A340, but that we do have in, for example, the 747, is a little bit of a bin space on the side over here where you could put some of your personal belongings so that they don't fall into the seat. Talk about falling into the seats, by the way, that is something worth mentioning, because if you look at those seats from the back over here, they do look pretty empty, while in the real world there is of course a lot of stuff going on inside those seats. So maybe that's something that iniBuilds can work on for a future update. Now, looking into the business class seat itself, a couple of nice details here, like the holder for your coat, then you can put your shoes down there. You unfortunately cannot open any of these, which in terms of saving performance is probably the right decision to make by the developers. And overall, I still gotta say the cabin just looks totally amazing. So this cabin has really convinced me very, very quickly. Now from here, let's move a little bit further forward and go into the front galley. So over here, a couple things worth mentioning. The galley itself cannot be interacted with, however it looks really good when you're getting close up. And on the other hand side, of course, we do have a little bit of storage space for our cabin crew. Then we do have the toilet in the very front over here. And yes, if you click that flush button, you actually get to hear a flush, even though that should be a little bit louder. But I'm German, I need to find something to complain about, otherwise I would not be German, you know? Well, and from here, let's get into the flight deck. So the door obviously is operable, like this, and then going up to the front, this is the flight deck. Now, I've chosen the EAS-1 flight deck over here just because it looks so cool. It's just something that we're not used to from Airbus simulations for a long, long time. The first thing getting into the flight deck is that you are going to put your stuff into the little storage space over here. You would also hang your coats and stuff like that. Then we do have some spare paper for the ACAS printer today, some emergency equipment, and looking around we do of course have the jump seat, which in the real world, by the way, you got a couple controls down here so you can move it up to the front. Unfortunately that is not simulated for the time being. Well, and then you have the second jump seat in the edge over here. Again, you could fold that one out, but you can't move this jump seat. Now, lots of stuff that's simulated over here, like the window blinds, even though it would be nice if they had the correct sound effects attached to those, but still nice to have. And well, then we end up looking at the flight deck itself. So for the flight deck, really high level of, a really high quality of texturing. I mean, look at this. This is fantastic. Look at the details down here. You can really see that those are old aircraft. Same goes for the bottom. And if we are just moving up to the front, to the thrust levers, look at this. I mean, that's the level of quality that I like. Then moving to the overhead panel, up here again, superb modeling, superb quality. Also going down here, looking at the side stick, that kind of stuff. iniBuilds just gets right. Their modelers most definitely know what they're doing. In terms of further animations in the cockpit, we do have the ability to open the storage mask of the oxygen box, of the oxygen masks, that way around. Can operate the sun visors that we've got on the front over here, like that, and you can open the windows. Very nice sound effect over here for the cockpit window. That's what it sounds like. Now, if you're wondering how to close them again, you need to release that safety pin down here, which is in place in case you do a crash landing, the aircraft deforms so you can no longer open the flight deck door. Then the cockpit windows are your emergency egress path. That's why you've also got an escape rope up here. However, imagine if the nose wheel collapses, then those windows would always be falling forward. So for that reason, they're locked in position, and in order to be able to operate them, you need to release that safety pin down here. Once you've done that, you can actually close them. And then a very good look at the pin over here. That shows any signs of red. Just to show you again, that's what it looks like. So here you go. If it shows any signs of red, then the window is not properly locked. So have a very good look at that. Now, flight deck itself, we do have a couple of lights installed in here. Obviously, we got the lights for the table at the top. Then you have the lights for your charts at the side, which are nowadays really no longer used because you have EFBs and you really don't want to shine a light at the EFB. Otherwise, the light sensor is going to trigger, the thing goes to full brightness and you're blind. So be a little careful with that. And then, of course, you've got the fridge, or at least what we do like to use as a fridge, and that's the rail of the window over here. It perfectly fits some Kinderriegel or other chocolate bars that you can put on here, and this one here is really cold, and therefore you can nicely cool down your chocolate before eating it. One of the most important features of the flight deck. Now, something that's really worth looking at is what you see in here. You can see that little line, which looks like a hole in the cockpit. And it actually is. There really is a hole in the cockpit. at the top of the windows, and if you hold your hand next to this in flight, you will actually feel a little bit of airflow as some air is being sucked out of the flight deck. So it's not too strong, but if you do hold a piece of paper in front of it, you will definitely notice. And nice to see that that little hole is actually simulated here in the iniBuilds aircraft as well. Well, my friends, and that concludes our look at the modeling and the interior of the aircraft. I do hope you found this one interesting. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath, and if you're interested in more parts of a mini review like this, as always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.